had a little bit of technical difficulties, so sorry for the couple-minute delay. We did a trial run at like 9 this morning and everything worked beautifully, of course. And then my computer went down and then I couldn't get back in and then our WebEx wouldn't let me in. And then it's been a fairly stressful last 10 minutes, so I'll try and chair the meeting as calmly as I can. Of course, the trial run beautifully is Murphy's Law, of course. So I want to welcome everybody to our 109th annual general meeting, first ever virtual, thanks to COVID. Thank you all for joining us this morning. And hopefully the rest of the meeting will go as seamlessly as we planned it to go. I am Marilyn Younghands. I'm the current past president. This is my last official duty in my last official meeting in my presidency. And then at the end of today, we'll be officially transferring the presidency over to Stephanie Scott. I'm Marilyn. I am a pharmacist right now in the Lloydminster Hospital. I have worked there for the last 10 years, and before that I was a community pharmacist and owner for about 10 years. So I've kind of split my career half and half for those of you who don't know me. So I kind of have a broad knowledge of pharmacy and have thoroughly enjoyed my time on council thus far, and the last year as president has been a stretch for me personally, but I have enjoyed it as well. I just want to go over a couple of meeting logistics. This is where I would normally tell you where the bathrooms are and fire exits and everything like that, but obviously you have to figure that all out on your own from where you're sitting today. I do have everybody on mute and will keep everybody on mute. There will be some opportunities to ask some questions, and we'd appreciate if you put most of your questions in the chat box, if that's an option. If you are just dialing in and are not on the WebEx, then you can unmute at those times and ask the questions as they come up. If I'm hearing any background noise, though, I will be frequently hitting the mute all button just to make sure that we have this as easy for everybody to hear as we can. And again, we were going to have a moderator for the questions, but that again kind of failed in this live run versus the test run. So I'll be doing my best to keep up with the chat box as we go. So I'm just going to share my screen and we have a presentation to share with you. All right, so again, welcome to the annual general meeting. First thing I'd like to do, quick agenda, is announce or introduce the council members. So our current president is Stephanie Scott. Then our president-elect, pardon me, is Rod Amaya. And I do want to say, just put out, we decided to do the slide presentation last minute, and so put out a call for pictures like 3 days ago, I think. So we got a lot of pictures in, but we didn't get one for everybody. So that's why some are missing. Current vice president and Division 8 rep is Amy Weeb. Then myself, the past president. For Division 1, we have Bradley Cooper from Estevan. Division 2 is Kelsey from Hudson Bay. From Division 3, we have Jaswant Patel from Prince Albert. From Division 4, we have Shauna Nowakowski from Saskatoon. From Division 5, we have Scott Szabo from Regina. From Division 6, we have Brandon Cron from Swift Current. From Division 7, we have Tanya Horkoff from Warman. Our representative from the university is Dean Jane Alcorn, and the designate ex officio is Yvonne Shevchuk. We have our public members. We have Bonnie Caven, Mark Hawkins, both from Regina, and Michael Lumberding from St. Brie. Our new student representative this year is Kelly Hugh. And we have 2 pharmacy technician observers. We have Lindsay Brackstad and Michelle Miller. So this is our current officers for council. So we have Stephanie, Rod, and Amy. Unfortunately, Dean Jane Elkhorn and Michael Umberding were not able to attend the AGM today. We did have some elections this year. So we held elections in the following divisions in 2 and 4, and Kyla Jackson was re-elected in Division 2, and Shauna Nowakowski was elected for Division 4. And we're very proud to report that for the first time in college's history, we have a voting pharmacy technician, and that's Shauna. So congratulations, Shauna. And Divisions 6 and 8 were both won by acclamation. So we have Brandon Cron and Amy Weeb returning to council. We also have some appointees to some other committees and councils. So we have to the CCCEP, we have Danielle Larocque. To the NAPRA, we have Gina Wendell. Our appointee to the PEBC Board of Canada is Suzanne Golka. To the University of Saskatchewan Senate is Christine Hrdruka. And to the University of Regina Senate is Linda Saltz. I'd now like to recognize those members that the SCPP is aware of that have passed away this year. So could you please bow for a moment of silent tribute to them as I read their names? Albert Browdy, Kirsty Carlson, Chuck Chow, Lee Collinridge, Neil Donaldson, Warner Fife, Dave Gallen, Bryce Green, DJ McCrimmon, Jeanette Maxted, Arthur Mickelson, Claire Paul, Roxanne Skelton, Larry Voigt, George Watine. Thank you. So now in your invite, you would have received a link to the annual report. So I've just included the link there if you want to open it. On page 5 of the annual report was the report of the president. And I just would like to ask the General Assembly if there are any questions that are arising from the president's report. And again, please use the chat box. And if you don't have access, then you are welcome to unmute and ask a question at this time. Okay. Just give a couple seconds. I'm not seeing any questions come up in the chat box. So I'll carry on then on page 9 of the report, annual report. I'd like to invite Registrar Gina Wendell to present the 2019 SCPP Registers Report and 2019 SCPP Financial Report. So Gina, you want to take it away for a minute?
So thanks, Marilyn. Please refer to page 9, as Marilyn said, of the annual report, and that would be the registrar's portion of the report. I would ask the General Assembly if there are any questions arising from the registrar's report. Watch for the chat function, as Marilyn said. So I'm going to assume hearing no questions. I'm going to move forward to a brief presentation on the financials for the annual report. And so thanks, Marilyn, for queuing that up. So this begins on page 42 of the annual report. So for those that aren't aware, there is an approval process. So we do have an audit committee that meets annually. So we met on April 8th of this year, and that includes the president, president-elect, vice president. There's also a member from council and a member at large. And then they review the audited financials from the auditor and go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And then based on that, they recommend approval to council. And so on May 1st of this year, council did approve the recommendation from the audit committee to approve the financial results. So if you want to go through on page 42 of the annual report, it goes over the balance sheet and just some high level things to note. Our assets did increase by around 692,000 or about 19% over 2018. The accounts receivable was less in 2018, and that's just due to how we recognize fines and costs from our discipline cases. Our capital and intangible assets increased, and this is due to additional leasehold improvements for 2019. So we did move office spaces. And our current liabilities is showing higher over 2018 by around 666,000. And again, primarily due to higher accounts payable. So that was right around the ending of our relocation and move. As well, the way we recognize our fees in advance, so 6/12 deferrals. And then we did have a deferred lease incentive that should have been recognized in 2019, but due to delays in construction would not be recognized until 2020. And so statement of operations on page 43 of the annual report, you can see a larger breakdown as well of Schedule 1 revenues, which is on page 51. And you can see in there as well, revenues increased by about 509,000 over 2018. And the increase here was really twofold. We did see an increase in membership and an increase in the number of pharmacies that opened in the year over 2018. And in addition, there was a council-approved fee increase that was recognized on April 1st of 2019. And going further into the statement of operations, again, page 52 goes into Schedule 2 of the sundry revenue. And so that also decreased slightly over 2018. And this decrease comes from payment of costs from discipline cases that were decided in 2019 and payable in 2019. Cases that were heard in previous years, payment may have come due in 2019, but because of how they were heard and paid, they aren't recognized the same. So you'll see an additional 178,000 was received for discipline costs in 2019, but we couldn't recognize it as sundry revenue just because the way it was heard. The cases were not decided in 2019. And this section also includes such things as our condo lease payments from PAS, which is also included in the other section. And statement of operations investment income on page 43. So I'm happy to report actually our investment income for 2019 was actually very good. It was about 210,000 versus a loss in 2018. The last quarter of 2018 was a very poor market conditions. We also reviewed our investment strategy in early 2019 or late 2018. And even though it's very low risk is our strategy, we moved it from ultra low risk to the highest low risk that you can go. And it actually turned out much better for investments. And it was actually a really good year. And actually this year is, despite COVID, is showing extremely strong returns as well. So that's great. And so again, just under administration, so Schedule 3 on page 53 of the annual report, and again, it talks about statement of operations, just in a bigger breakdown. Some highlights here, the building operations is showing about $80,000 over 2018, but we've amalgamated a lot of these accounts, and this line now shows condo costs from our location on Pasqua Street, so condo fees, taxes, and janitor, etc. So we do expect that to come down the next year in reporting, just because we won't have 3 places to look after, just 2. And again, on administration, Schedule 3 of page 53, some highlights there. So employee benefits are showing higher in 2019. This is also due to some of the additional council-approved staff that we onboarded throughout 2019. Our general office expenses decreased over 2018. And of course, salaries did increase over 2018 due to the full implementation of the approved strategic human resources plan throughout 2019. And then on page 43 as well, you'll see under other expenses, so amortization decreased slightly over 2018. Compass subscription shows slightly higher again over 2018, and that was just due to a significant increase in the number of pharmacies that opened. Our continuing education increased again over 2018. Again, this is twofold. It was due to an increase in the number of members, as well as a one-time council-approved fee for travel health that was launched as well. And our legal costs continue to increase, so they increased over 2018, and this is generally an increase in complaints and discipline. And our statement of operations again on page 43. So revenues, as I mentioned, are up over 2018 by about 675,000. Expenses were also up by about 532,000. And again, the majority of this is due to salaries of new onboarded staff, council expenses, and legal costs. There was a profit of $91,000 over a loss of $51,000 from 2018. And our fund balance at the end of 2019 was about 1.5 million, which is an increase over 2018 of about $25,000. And accounts and funds were used for the new SCP office space as well. And the next slide, this just gives a really high level picture of some of the funds accounting for the college. So as you can see there, we do have a total reserves of 2.2 million. Those are restricted. So 500,000 of that is restricted for catastrophic discipline costs. And we have a policy of keeping 50% of our admin costs. And admin costs, as you can see from the annual report in the statements, includes the majority of the operating of the office. So the rent and salaries and just anything to do with running the business. And so that has to be kept at 50%. And so it's just shy of 1.1 million. So those are restricted costs. So the unrestricted reserve balance is around $672,000. We do have a few other funds. We have a building contingency fund of about 12,000, and that's for any surprises that should come up with any of our buildings that we keep. And we do have a training and competency fund of about 51,000, and there is council approved plans to use some of that as we support our strategic goals going forward for 2020 to 2024. And this is just some 2020 budget highlights. So we are expecting a surplus of 162,000. So that looks like a huge surplus when we're supposed to be zero-based budgeting. However, we did not recognize $156,000 one-time landlord improvement rebate in 2019, and it's being recognized in 2020. So it still has to show on the books as a revenue. So realistically, the true surplus for the 2020 budget is going to be really tight. It's around $6,000. So we have no changes to CPDPP education grants. Compass remains the same. There's no change to that. And in discussion with the Finance Committee, going forward, the fees, any fees for the college will be matched to whatever the consumer price index is, in addition to any other needs. So that is, the increase last year was just 1.9%, which is the CPI for November of 2019. There was a small increase to the per diem of $5. Mileage and meals remain unchanged. Our complaints and discipline, unfortunately, continue to increase. Already this year, we are at last year's numbers with an expected quite a few more coming in. Obviously, continuing regular council and committee activity through the budget expenses. Our regular programming continues, continuing Compass as well. And some other highlights and projects. So MedSask has done a complete review of all of the minor ailments that are published, so 27 of them. We're hoping to have them all updated by the end of 2020. And in fact, our council meeting this week, there's 16 of them going for review and updates. So that was a big project. We've also done a complete update of our jurisprudence exam. We hope to be live with that by the end of this year. So that was another big undertaking. And we're in the process of contacting experts in adult education to begin working with the Competency Assurance Committee that was struck at the college. And this is to help support the strategic goal that we have right now for our current plan. And that's to have a functioning competency assurance system by the end of 2024. We're continuing to work with the human resources firm to make sure all of the job descriptions within the college are complete and up to date by the end of 2020. We're working with them to finalize the implementation of a performance management system that should be training will occur later this fall and be going live in 2021 to set goals and objectives with the staff to work through their strategic plan and have their performance reviews managed. And then we're just continuing to work through key objectives and initiatives that were agreed by Council for 2020 to 2024. So we continue to prepare annual work plans and submit them to Council to show our work against the plan for our objectives and initiatives and where we're sitting on our goals. That's the end of my report. Does anyone have any questions?
So again, we encourage anybody to use the chat box if you have any questions for Gina on the financial report. Or if you're just on the phone, you can unmute at this time to ask your questions.
I guess hearing none, I'll turn it back to you, Marilyn.
Thank you, Gina. At this time, I would like to ask if there's any new business to be discussed. How new business works in the AGM, for those who maybe haven't attended one before, is kind of any items that are brought forward in the new business section are actually things that are brought to Council and then reported back at next year's AGM. So is there any new business that anyone would like to discuss? Again, you can use the chat function or feel free to unmute and ask as well. Give a few seconds here to see if anything's coming through. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Okay. If anything comes up later, there is, you know who all the councillors are, and that is also an opportunity to discuss things with council members so they can bring it to the table if it's deemed appropriate as well. So if you don't get a chance now, that's an option later. So with that, I now notice the 109th Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals Annual General Meeting to be adjourned. And now we'd like to move into the awards portion of the agenda. So we do have a few awards we'd like to mention. The first award that we have today is the Award of Merit. And this award is presented to recognize any person, group, or organization who is not a member of the college, who through their active participation has promoted the SCPP and or the profession of pharmacy in Saskatchewan. The first recipient of the Award of Merit is Barb DeHaan in appreciation for her service as a member of the SCPP Complaints Committee. And the second recipient is the Canadian Foundation for Pharmacy in recognition of the 75th anniversary of their serving the profession of pharmacy in Canada. The next award is the Centennial Pharmacy Award. And this award is presented to recognize any person, group, or organization who is not a member of the college, who through their active participation has promoted the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals and or the profession of pharmacy in Saskatchewan. And this year's recipient is PharmaSave number 424, or formerly Fish's Drugs, in recognition of providing over 100 years of pharmacy services to the community of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, which is quite a legacy. Next, we have some certificate of recognitions to present, and these are presented to retiring presidents, councillors, and committee members of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals for their dedication and contributions to the Council of SCPP. So upon their retirement from the SCPP Complaints Committee, we'd like to recognize Stan Chow, George Furno, and Janet Markowski. Upon retirement from the SCPP Discipline Committee, I'd like to recognize Bradley Cooper and Dean German. Upon retirement from the SCPP Professional Practice Committee, we would like to recognize Kelly Babcock and Don Coots. And upon her retirement from the SCPP Registration and Licensing Policies Committee, we'd like to recognize Kim Bourgeois. Retiring as the past president of council is John Kosar. And like to do a personal note of thanks to Justin. He almost became wallpaper with council because he has been sitting on it for a long time, and we definitely find a big hole in him having retired from the position. Personally, I definitely learned a lot from Justin, and he definitely encouraged me to move into the president role. So I just want to thank him personally for that. And also, Palima Shrestha retires as the senior stick from the College of Pharmacy and Nutrition student representation on council. Next, I'd like to move to the Emerald Achievement Award. And the Emerald Achievement Award is presented to recognize a member of the SCPP who has been active in our profession for at least 35 years and is recognized for their dedication. And today, we'd like to recognize Bill Gurla. He's a graduate of the class of '84 and has been practicing as a community pharmacist in Saskatchewan for the entirety of his career. And he is the past president of the SCPP, and another one who I'd like to personally thank because, again, he was someone who encouraged me to move into the presidency role. He is lovingly known on council as Reliable, because he was always willing and able to help and still is. And so congratulations, Bill, on this award. The Safety Excellent Award is presented to a member of the SCPP or healthcare related group or organization to which the member belongs who has made a special contribution to pharmacy in the area of increasing safety with one outstanding contribution or a series of achievements that has enhanced patient or medication safety. And this year's recipient is Allison Wells for providing strong leadership and mentorship in safe practices, particularly for pharmacy technicians. Congratulations, Allison. I worked with Allison on a pump project in the hospital at one point, and safety is definitely near and dear to her heart, so this is a well-won award. And then I'd like to ask Registrar Gina Wendell to enter into the records of the college the names of the confirmed members emeriti.
Great, thanks, Marilyn. So the following retired members have been in good standing with this college or another pharmacy regulatory body for a minimum of 25 years. In accordance with the bylaws, the Awards and Honors Committee has confirmed that we confer the honorary designation of Member Emeritus upon the following individuals: Mr. Curtis Laux of Yorkton, Saskatchewan, and Mrs. Janet Markowski of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I'll turn it back over to you, Marilyn.
Thanks, Gina. And that does conclude the awards presentation. So I'd just like to take a moment now to just give my last words in this chair, my last official chaired meeting. A little over a year ago, I spoke to you guys in May in my initial speech about professionalism, and I just want to say thank you to all of you for all the hard work that you do every day. I think nothing has forced us to show how professional we are like this COVID pandemic has. And I'm so proud to be able to be colleagues with all of you, and the way that you've been available to patients still through all this while lots of places were closing their doors, not necessarily by choice, but always accessible. Always providing good service to the public of Saskatchewan, and essentially just pushing forward the mandate of our college, which is safety and for all public members of Saskatchewan. I have definitely enjoyed my year as president. I'm not gonna lie though, it is a big to be able to officially pass it off to Stephanie this year. It is a lot of extra work, but again, it did stretch me personally, helped me grow, helped me learn, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And I would definitely put that pitch in if you're considering running for council or volunteering on committees or things like that. I highly recommend it because it definitely does renew the passion in pharmacy, or it did for me. I would like to sincerely thank everybody at the office as well for supporting me through this year. And we have a wonderful staff working in the office, and they're all very helpful and incredibly brilliant and able to change my words to make them sound good. And this is not scripted, so nobody's to blame for what I'm saying today except me. But yeah, it's been definitely a pleasure and a joy to be able to work with everybody who's in the office. I'd like to thank my fellow council members because I think we have a great team at the table. It is a lot of tough decisions to be made at the council table, and you guys can all rest assured that we're not taking the easy way out. We're definitely discussing things and looking at it from a mandate point of view, not what helps everyday pharmacist necessarily. We do have to look at it from our mandate, which is the safety of Saskatchewan, the public Saskatchewan. So those tough discussions are happening at the table, and I feel that that's coming forward in the work that you're seeing from us. So with that, I would like to invite Gina to perform the next presidential installation. So Gina.
Great. Thank you very much, Marilyn. So as you can see, we're doing the social distance installation today. So I would like to say to Stephanie Scott, being duly elected as president of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals for 2020-2021 professional year, commencing on July 1st of 2020. In this capacity, it has been and will continue to be your duty to preside and counsel over all meetings of the college, to sign all certificates, diplomas, and other instruments or documents executed on behalf of the college, and to present a report to the annual meeting at the college and be ex officio a member of all committees. It will be your further duty to conduct the affairs of this college so that its members may have pride in the profession and so that the citizens of this province will recognize that they have been professionally served by those whom your office will represent. I ask then, do you agree to accept this office and to serve your college to the best of your ability?
I do.
I invest with you this emblem of your office, which is the gavel that you can see on the table, and now declare you, Stephanie Scott, officially installed as the president of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals.
Thank you, Gina.
Congratulations.
Dear pharmacy fellow colleagues, it is with great honor that I accept the responsibility as president of the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals. As I transition into this role during these unprecedented times, I am extremely grateful for the past leadership of this council and for the current leadership within the college for their guidance, knowledge, and support as we tackle the upcoming regulatory challenges that we are faced with during this pandemic and beyond. I am also thankful for the incredible group of individuals that I've had the opportunity to work with this year who come with a variety of backgrounds and experiences which will be invaluable as we work through this upcoming mandate. Over the past number of years, we have consistently heard that these are exciting times in the pharmacy profession, as our roles are constantly changing, adapting, and expanding. I don't think any of us could have predicted the amount of change that could happen virtually overnight. To respond to the COVID-19 crisis, we were given increased responsibilities during already challenging times in order to continue to provide quality care for our patients. The profession of pharmacy as we knew it at the beginning of the year, like many other aspects of our lives, will likely never be the same. We have had to completely change the way we practice in order to keep ourselves, our families, our coworkers, and our patients safe. However, I choose to focus on the positive outcomes that this pandemic will bring, and I believe we have been given tremendous opportunity to shape the future of the pharmacy profession in Saskatchewan. We have the opportunity to show just how crucial pharmacy practice is to the overall healthcare team and to build even stronger those trusting relationships that we have had with our patients since the beginning. We have already proven that we have the ability to quickly adapt and expand our scope of practice with very short notice to meet the needs of Saskatchewan patients. We have shown that community pharmacies are now more than ever the first point of access to the healthcare system for many patients, and we have been able to amend our regulatory bylaws to allow pharmacists to continue to provide exceptional patient care in extraordinary circumstances. The Section 56 exemption to utilize prescriptive authority, provide transfers, and take verbal orders for medications listed in the CDSA the ability to provide virtual pharmacy services to reach our most vulnerable patients, the dispensing quantity limits that were put in place to protect the drug supply, and the upcoming emergency therapeutic substitution bylaws are a few examples of how we were able to quickly work together and develop solutions in response to the challenges we continue to face during the pandemic. From all of my fellow frontline colleagues in community, hospital, and academia, I've seen an amazing amount of strength and resilience. You continue to show up each and every day, not knowing what new challenges the day will bring, all for the sake of doing right by your patients. The values that have been developed along with SCPP's 2020 to 2024 strategic plan highlight professionalism, collaboration, leadership, and a culture of excellence within the practice of pharmacy. Throughout this pandemic, I truly believe that pharmacists, pharmacy technicians, and pharmacy students across the province have really proven these values to be true. It has given me such a sense of pride to know that I belong to a profession who consistently puts the care of Saskatchewan patients first above all else. I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank all of the retiring members of council for your involvement and commitment to the profession, and to our outgoing past president, Mr. Kosar. Although your time on council was extended far beyond what you signed up for, your dedication and leadership has not gone unnoticed. To Gina and the entire SCPP staff, I don't think we could thank you enough for the amount of incredible work you guys have done in just a few short months. From the emergency bylaw amendments to the multiple reference manual documents and ongoing updates and communication to members on top of all the daily work, you have played such a crucial role in supporting the continued care of our patients. Finally, I want to take the opportunity to thank all of the pharmacy professionals in this province for all that you have done and all that you continue to do to provide quality pharmacy care for a healthier Saskatchewan. So with that, I welcome all of you guys to stay healthy and stay safe. And we have now reached the end of our agenda. So I'll officially adjourn this meeting, and thank you all for your attendance.
I want to say a quick thank you to everyone who joined and took time out of their day. And this concludes the meeting. So we'll end the session. And as Stephanie said, stay safe, everyone, and be good to your families and friends. And hopefully we see a different AGM next year. Take care.